Every wrestling fan is a fantasy booker in their own mind. Each of us has their favourites, wrestlers we'd like to become champion, changes we'd make, people we'd like to come and go. And yet when we finally get what we want, more often than not, it turns out nothing like what we thought it would. Sometimes it's due to expectations simply being too high, but other times it's due to incompetence, bad decisions, or simple lack of foresight. Either way, just like my wife, you're left disappointed. Expectations not meeting reality is kind of part and parcel of what it is to be a wrestling fan. We build things up so much in our minds, and then they end in a whimper. And there's nothing we can do about it. With that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and these are 7 things WWE fans wanted until they got them. Number 7, Shane McMahon back in WWE. When Shane finally returned to WWE after a whopping 6 years away, the pop was enormous. I myself popped my absolute tits off to see him sweating down that ramp. Fans were elated and genuinely surprised, and even that whole McMahon lockbox bollocks didn't dampen our expectations. Oh, but how things have changed since then. While he has continuously entertained the crowds with his whole falling off of high places, basically trying to kill himself in front of his kid's shtick, and shadow boxing, he has earned himself a fair share of go-away heat. You see, Shane McMahon, and it pains me to say this, is the best in the world, even though he wasn't included in that tournament originally. And since that fateful night in Saudi Arabia, he has slowly started taking over both main roster brands. There has been no escape from Shane McMahon. He's been feuding with bloody everyone, getting quite a few wins along the way, I might add. Yeah, and collecting sidekicks like they were bloody trading cards. What seemed like a dream a couple of years ago has slowly turned into a nightmare for fans. Could be worse though. Could be Steph. Number 6, main roster call-ups. Do you really need me to say anything for this? Look, obviously some NXT graduates have managed to find success on the main roster, but others have been lackluster, to say the least. If I'm perfectly honest, there are far too many to count. Let's see, there's American Alpha, the Revival, even the bloody Ascension, and that is only going into the tag teams that they've buggered up. So many people showed such promise down in NXT, and then have been a complete letdown. Right now, Johnny Gargano has seemingly exhausted all of his options down in NXT, and the main roster beckons. Sadly, his chances don't look too promising. Oh, he's so small. Number 5, Japanese favorites in WWE. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Shinsuke Nakamura, Asuka, Kairi Sane. For one reason or another, Vince, their WWE main roster careers have been a real disappointment. Given the opportunity to spread their wings, they are capable of putting on world-class performances. Shinsuke Nakamura had so many matches that were meant to be all-time classics on the main roster. I mean, versus AJ Styles and versus Seth Rollins, to name but a few, and yet they were perfectly meh. Charlotte ended Asuka's undefeated streak at WrestleMania, and whilst it was a necessary conclusion to what was an excellent run for Asuka, the way she's been booked since then, yeah. I mean, come on, Vince, she is one of the best wrestlers in the world, male or female, and for months she was a complete non-entity. And what can I say about Kairi Sane? Well, she's Io Shirai, according to WWE's graphics team. Number 4, the brand split. For years, SmackDown was the ugly stepsister of WWE programming, kind of like being the worst of all the Adams here at What Culture. Oh god, that's me, isn't it? The brand split, though, offered opportunities for wrestlers who'd kind of been forgotten or not given enough TV time to showcase their talents. And for a few months after the beginning of the brand split, all seemed good. SmackDown was almost enjoyable viewing. And then, more TV time for mid-carders. Nah, sod all that. How about the same 3 people over and over and over again? From being the land of opportunity, SmackDown soon descended into a world of mediocrity. It was still clearly considered by WWE management to be the B show. Well, oh no, it's not that one, sorry. With the wildcard rule running rampant, God, I hated that, and SmackDown being drowned by Raw recaps anyway, many started to question the validity of the brand split. I mean, be honest, do you even know who's on each roster? Do you know which roster he is on? I'll give you a clue. No. Number 3, Dean Ambrose's heel turn. Let's be honest, Roman Reigns was and quite possibly is still WWE's golden boy. And Seth Rollins, whilst only reaching the status as face of the company in recent months, has been orbiting the main event scene for many years now. Dean Ambrose, on the other hand, yeah, Vince no likey. He was clearly less coveted by WWE and burdened with a ridiculous lunatic whoa gimmick. Yeah, that did him no favors either. And so when he returned from injury looking jacked and like he was going to take crap from absolutely no one, it seemed like the perfect time to pull the trigger on a heel turn. Dean Ambrose turning heel was seemingly a dream come true, and despite the morbid nature of it all, they did it at the perfect time. It was supposed to revitalize his character and return him to the spotlight alongside his former Shield teammates. And yet, it's viewed as a great disappointment by virtually everyone, and one of the main reasons he decided to leave WWE. I wonder what he's up to nowadays. WWE creative, as they so often do, turn chicken salad into chicken. Well, you can kind of see where I'm going with that one. He went from a vicious badass to a bad joke in a matter of weeks. They made him do promos about getting vaccine shots. He walked around in a gas mask and he called fans dirty. I mean, thank God at least he said no to the pooper scooper. Oh, and one final thing, the cherry on the icing on the cake, if you will. They wanted him to say a line so disgusting about Roman Reigns' cancer that he would not repeat it. Nice work, guys. Number 2, NXT UK. According to WWE, NXT's United Kingdom branch was supposed to be there to give British wrestlers more opportunities without damaging the local wrestling scene too much. On the one hand, yes, but on the other hand, nope. Yes, the reality is sadly very different. WWE raided the independent wrestling scene in the United Kingdom almost beyond repair. They snatched up as many top stars as possible and then just kind of weren't really interested in doing anything with them at all. What does interest them, however, though, is tying those wrestlers up with deals that make sure they cannot appear on any other wrestling promotion's televised events. I'm not bitter. I'm not. Number 1, Seth Rollins as the face of the WWE. As I mentioned earlier, Seth Rollins has been in the WWE main event scene for many years now, and for much of that time, he was a fan favorite. CrossFit Jesus is a work rate machine. That is a fact. And he's occasionally shown himself to be a good promo as well. Occasionally. And yet recently, well, he's had a with his trousers on, hasn't he? When in the company of the greats during the recent Raw reunion, yeah, he looked like a total geek, didn't he? Up until that great match at SummerSlam, every time he fought Brock Lesnar, yeah, he had to punch him in the bollocks. And it seemed like his greatest accomplishment, while supposedly being the top guy of the company, by the way, was going out with Becky Lynch. Michael Cole quite liked to mention that. Oh, and his conduct on social media and in interviews only served to turn the tide against him even more. Whilst he has started to turn it around a little bit more recently, he's now sort of branded as a company shill. His reputation is nowhere near it was just a few months ago. You know, when he was winning the Rumble and then the Universal title at bloody WrestleMania. Who would have previously thought that Rollins could be the top champ and yet look weaker than ever? Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and if you're a fan of what you've just seen, then make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for daily wrestling podcasts, where we not only review Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, we also discuss the events before and after of pay-per-views. We have roundtable discussions discussing burning wrestling issues, interviews, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture. and I'll see you soon. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts. And you can check out more of our videos right here. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.